China doesn't show up in Africa in a vacuum. Recently, there was a report where 101 companies either listed on the London Stock Exchange or domiciled in the UK own the rights to $1 trillion of resources in Africa. So the resources are in the ground in Africa, but ownership to these resources, right? Access to these resources is for companies that are listed on the London Stock Exchange. And that's how it was done. A Western company or Chevron shows up in an African country, signs an agreement with an African government. And the way it works is we pay you in terms of royalty and taxes. And then the government was responsible to take the resources and develop its country, pay for services, pay for infrastructure. China offered a different model. Resource for oil, for infrastructure deals. So basically the Chinese offer was, against payment on resources you should have, you can take out a loan and build the infrastructure you need. And up to today, Africa still lags the rest of the world on every measure of infrastructure coverage, especially with paved roads and electricity. I'll give you an example, and I always like to use this because it tells you how stark it is, that only 43% of the roads in Africa are paved, and 30% of all the paved roads in Africa are in one country, South Africa. That is the scale of the infrastructure gap on the continent. And because especially Africa south of the Sahara, doesn't have the resources, doesn't have the infrastructure on which to be able to build a modern economy. Last year, 2017, Africa's total share of global trade was equal to South Korea, which is around 2.93%. This is a continent of about 1 billion people. And so when the Chinese show up and for the first time begin to build infrastructure that was not geared on the colonial infrastructure that most African countries inherited.
Voice of Africa by Africans.